Of Q Broadcast, it's taking the world by storm. People are cutting the cord to their high cable bills and moving away from streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and others for something better. Q Broadcast. For just $60 a month, you'll get access to every channel you could ever want, including HBO, Cinemax, and Stars. And the best part? There are no contracts, no hidden fees, and you're free to cancel anytime. With Q Broadcast, you can enjoy streaming live TV, movies, and top series on up to 5 devices at once. Whether you're at home or on the go, Q Broadcast makes sure your entertainment is always at your fingertips. Imagine being able to watch all your favorite channels from anywhere, anytime, without any restrictions. We're talking about thousands of movies, hundreds of TV series, and a huge library of live channels, all in one place. And don't forget video on demand and pay-per-view events. Those are included at no extra cost, so you'll never miss a big event again. Now, take a second and think about your current cable bill. You're probably paying anywhere between $100 and $300 every month, locked into long-term contracts and hit with surprise rate increases. With Q Broadcast, that's a thing of the past. It's just $60 a month. No contracts, no extra fees, no hidden costs, and no price hikes. Why juggle multiple subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, and cable when Q Broadcast gives you everything you need in one convenient package? People everywhere are switching to Q Broadcast, saving money and getting more content than ever before. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description and sign up for Q Broadcast today. Just $60 a month, no contracts, no hidden fees. It's time to take control of your entertainment and start streaming smarter.
We live in a world where men are told it's harmless. It's just entertainment. But let's stop lying to ourselves. Pornography destroys. It weakens your spirit. It dulls your drive. And it robs you of what real intimacy is supposed to be. Every click is a step away from the man you're supposed to be. We can't call ourselves leaders if we are slaves to a screen.
As someone that is prior service, I know all about discipline. And discipline isn't out there, it's within your mind. Porn rewires your brain, weakens your will, wrecks all of your relationships. It doesn't just stay on a screen, it invades your marriage, your confidence, and your actual purpose. As men, if we don't learn to discipline ourselves, we'll be ruled by our impulses. Now, it is time to stand up and take control before this silent war takes more than you're willing to lose.
Real men don't hide in the shadows of shame. We step up and we protect what's ours. We fight for our wives and kids, our own hearts. Twitter isn't just an app, it's a weapon. It's a tool used to break free and start living like the man that you're meant to be. The battle's here and it starts with you. You can stop living in shame and you can break free today.
Of Q Broadcast, it's taking the world by storm. People are cutting the cord to their high cable bills and moving away from streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and others for something better. Q Broadcast. For just $60 a month, you'll get access to every channel you could ever want, including HBO, Cinemax, and Stars. And the best part? There are no contracts, no hidden fees, and you're free to cancel anytime. With Q Broadcast, you can enjoy streaming live TV, movies, and top series on up to 5 devices at once. Whether you're at home or on the go, Q Broadcast makes sure your entertainment is always at your fingertips. Imagine being able to watch all your favorite channels from anywhere, anytime, without any restrictions. We're talking about thousands of movies, hundreds of TV series, and a huge library of live channels, all in one place. And don't forget video on demand and pay-per-view events. Those are included at no extra cost, so you'll never miss a big event again. Now, take a second and think about your current cable bill. You're probably paying anywhere between $100 and $300 every month, locked into long-term contracts and hit with surprise rate increases. With Q Broadcast, that's a thing of the past. It's just $60 a month. No contract, extra fees, no hidden costs, and no price hikes. Why juggle multiple subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, and cable when Q Broadcast gives you everything you need in one convenient package? People everywhere are switching to Q Broadcast, saving money and getting more content than ever before. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description and sign up for Q Broadcast today. Just $60 a month, no contracts, no hidden fees. It's time to take control of your entertainment and start streaming smarter.
We live in a world where men are told it's harmless. It's just entertainment. But let's stop lying to ourselves. Pornography destroys. It weakens your spirit. It dulls your drive. And it robs you of what real intimacy is supposed to be. Every click is a step away from the man you're supposed to be. We can't call ourselves leaders if we are slaves to a screen.
As someone that is prior service, I know all about discipline. And discipline isn't out there, it's within your mind. Porn rewires your brain, weakens your will, wrecks all of your relationships. It doesn't just stay on a screen, it invades your marriage, your confidence, and your actual purpose. As men, if we don't learn to discipline ourselves, we'll be ruled by our impulses. Now, it is time to stand up and take control before this silent war takes more than you're willing to lose.
Real men don't hide in the shadows of shame. We step up and we protect what's ours. We fight for our wives and kids, our own hearts. Twitter isn't just an app, it's a weapon. It's a tool used to break free and start living like the man that you're meant to be. The battle's here and it starts with you. You can stop living in shame and you can break free today.
Here at the Anomic Age, we know that these times of uncertainty are stressful. It is incumbent upon all of us to put our fears first and bow down to government tyranny. Gone are the days of freely leaving your home, working, and social interactions. In exchange for safety, we will trade liberty. At the Anomic Age, we understand. However, just in case you want to get off your knees and stop being a sniveling coward, check out the John Age Project at anomicage.com.
Meet Ann Morrissey, who is here with her daughter, Dareth. Dareth is 17 years old. Mrs. Morrissey, I don't have to tell you that most parents would be extremely depressed if their daughter came home one day looking like this. I assume that was your response shock, anger, depression? What was it?
I was extremely angry. I really went bananas.
Yeah, how old was she when this happened?
Possibly 13, 14 years old.
We're talking like it's a disease, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah. How did she explain it to you, Mrs. Morrissey?
there was very poor communication until we went into counseling. And it almost broke up our family. But through counseling and Serena, I can understand it better.
What do you understand?
That she feels like she doesn't want to be like everyone else. And she wants to be her own person. And through the dress code and her lifestyle, she's expressing this. It doesn't conform with our rules, but we're learning to cope, and it's a very, very difficult thing. Extremely difficult.
Dareth, let's let you talk for yourself. You're from Long Beach, California.
I just can't handle being like everybody else because that's what everybody else wants, just because somebody else does something does not mean that I have to do it. I have my own morals and ideals, and I go by them.
Are you drug-free, Dara?
Yes, I am.
Is this a political statement then? Do you have some misgiving about the society that you see?
Yeah, there's a lot of problems. A lot of the people are really aware of what's going on. And I don't like it. There's a
You don't
lot
like
of problems. I don't like the way society is based.
What bothers you? Give us some of the misgivings you have.
The rich, the poor, the people starving, the wars. Why can't everybody just get along and just live their life?
Here at the Anomic Age, we know that these times of uncertainty are stressful. It is incumbent upon all of us to put our fears first and bow down to government tyranny. Gone are the days of freely leaving your home, working, and social interactions. In exchange for safety, we will trade liberty. At the Anomic Age, we understand. However, just in case you want to get off your knees and stop being a sniveling coward, check out the John Age Project at anomicage.com.
Meet Ann Morrissey, who is here with her daughter, Dareth. Dareth is 17 years old. Mrs. Morrissey, I don't have to tell you that most parents would be extremely depressed if their daughter came home one day looking like this. I assume that was your response shock, anger, depression? What was it?
I was extremely angry. I really went bananas.
Yeah, how old was she when this happened?
Possibly 13, 14 years old.
We're talking like it's a disease, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah. How did she explain it to you, Mrs. Morrison?
there was very poor communication until we went into counseling. And it almost broke up our family. But through counseling and Serena, I can understand it better.
What do you understand?
That she feels like she doesn't want to be like everyone else, and she wants to be her own person. And through the dress code and her lifestyle, she's expressing this. It doesn't conform with our rules, but we're learning to cope, and it's a very, very difficult thing. Extremely difficult.
Dareth, let's let you talk for yourself. You're from Long Beach, California.
I just can't handle being like everybody else because that's what everybody else wants. Just because somebody else does something does not mean that I have to do it. I have my own morals and ideals, and I go by them.
Are you drug-free, Dareth?
Yes, I am.
Is this a political statement then? Do you have some misgiving about the society that you see?
Yeah, there's a lot of problems. A lot of the people are really aware of what's going on. And I don't like it. There's a lot of problems. I don't like the way society is based.
What bothers you? Give us some of the misgivings you have.
The rich,
Talon Real and Chevy.
Propagating truth in a world of lies. You are listening to the John Age Project.
Trust no one. Trust no one. Trust no one.
truth in a world of lies. You are listening to the John Age Project.
Trust no one. Trust no one. Trust no one.
You found it. You're here. You're headlong down the runaway train that is the Anomic Age, and I am your host, John Age. Happy to be back with you once again in the dark side of the AM. I'll be your tour guide this evening as we take a somewhat satirical journey down the path of murder, destruction, mayhem, and the extermination of human life on this planet. A forced march into obsolescence thrust upon us by a global satanic death cult of pedophiles. Check out anomicage.com. It's brand new and improved and right there for you. So if you can do no more, please check out anomicage.com. Like all the likes, subscribe to all the subscriptions. PayPal.me/anomicage, Patreon.com/anomicage as well. That's the best way that you can help me out. Let me cut this mess off before somebody tries to bother me. Best way you can help me is right there at anomicage.com. We got the free Android app, the free iPhone app, the subscribe by email link, and so much more. So you can do all that and absolutely be up to date, up to the minute. Anytime something new drops, if you got the Android or the iPhone app, you will see it. There we go. You will see it, folks. And I'm old school at the heart, so I love the subscribe by email link. So you can just do that. Put in an alias, put in just whatever email is kind of your backup or whatever, and you will receive an email once the shows drop. But I gotta say, man, the iPhone app is working well, new and improved. It looks pretty much just like the desktop version if you're looking at that one. So check that out. And as always, if you could do no more, you got the 5-star reviews, the kind words, the sweet nothings in the ear. Anything to break the algorithm would be amazing. So check that out. Kind of proud of the webpage, looking new and improved and much better, in my humble opinions. Check it out. And there's a plethora of old shows. So if you're new to the game, shout out to all those folks in the Patriots Prayer group. Not completely new on Patriots Prayer, but it's not been my my mainstay for all that long. So shout out to all you folks on Patriots Prayer Network. Thanks for tuning in. I know you cats are all new to the show as far as like the last few hundred episodes. So I think as far as the information breakdown segments, of which this is one, we're well into like the 400s, I believe. Can't believe that one. And we got 5+ years of interviews going all the way back to, good grief, quite a ways. So tons of great guests, tons of great interviews. You can check them out. The video and the audio versions of them are all right there at anomicage.com. And we got more guests coming up too. Don't worry. It ain't just me all the time. Although I do love our intimate chats and conversations. So tonight we're going to do that too. It's kind of funny sometimes. You get a show together, best of intentions, you kind of lay everything out and you got all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. It's all ready to go. And then you get like an hour, maybe a little more before showtime, and you think, man, I'm going to scrap this whole thing and go at it in a different direction. Pardon me, but sneeze. And today was one of those days. Today I had all the great intentions, did all this extra show prep and show work, and I was ready to go. And the more I started looking at the news, the more I just kind of said, well, there's a whole lot more to talk about than what I wanted to talk about. So are we going to talk about the obvious stuff that the showliners portend? Yes, we are. So if you're thinking about it, are we going to talk about the fake reality, the holographic universe? Sure. But we're going to talk about a little more than that, too. Man. pollen is destroying me out here. I'm sorry. If you live in North Carolina, one of the worst states imaginable, me proudly from the coastal plain of the old North State, it was like 85 yesterday. It's like 55 right now. And it's just a blanket, a sea of yellow. Gosh, man. Give me a second, folks. Hold on. All right, I'm back. Sorry, I didn't want to sneeze on everybody. So, yeah, that's what we're going to get into tonight. We're going to cover a little bit of that. Is it real or is it all a lie? Is it all a dream? It just might be, folks. It just might be. So we're going to cover all that in a bag of chips this evening. I usually don't do a big media blitz segment, but I swear, man, there was a lot of just stupid going on in the last few days. So I felt not really obligated, but I just kind of felt like I needed to. I wanted to cover some of this news. So we're going to cover some of this news. And I'm actually going to start out with a little debunking. Not a lot of debunking, but a little bit of debunking. So let's delve right into the deep end of the pool, folks. I know somebody's about to have a stroke. So that's what we shall do. Let's go deep into the pool, shall we? All right. So we got to talk about this guy. I'm just going to let it play and do what it do, and then I'll come back and I'll talk to you. So here we go. We're going to let the sheriff speak for himself in his own words. There's going to be a lot of videos tonight. So if you ain't into that, tough turkey. It's going to be some videos. Here we go. Shock it.
I give you this by way of example. Some pond scum felt empowered and emboldened enough to put this picture of me up to try to threaten and intimidate me, which of course he didn't do because I signed up for this. And by the way, the person that did this said a bunch of terrible things, not just against me, but against a lot of groups and individuals, who, by the way, was arrested today in Wisconsin. My point is this, though. If this person is emboldened and empowered enough or feels safe enough to do this for me, what does he do to a kid? What does he do to a Jewish family walking down the street? And that's because of the normalization of this, watching this on television and saying, okay, I feel empowered enough that I can do this. Well, A, you can't. And B, if you think you can do it to somebody that's in law enforcement, again, what are you going to do in an alley or on a street to a Jewish family or a kid walking down the street? We say no. We're drawing the line.
We say no, we're drawing the line, I tell you. I was going to pull this one up and I forgot, and now I'm going to make that good for you. Hold on, let me pull this one right here. Bling. Oh, snapping turtles. Come on, man. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. This is the one. This is the one right here, I tell you. There we go. That's what we were trying to get right there. So this is this gentleman, Michael, or Mike, if you're nasty. Michael Bouchard. Yeah, Oakland County Sheriff. This is how much cash flow this clown's getting from his pro-Israel lobby. Okay, just so you know. So there you go. We're connecting dots here. And I said I'm going to do some debunking, so I shall. So we got old Michael. We just saw the video, and you just heard from the horse's mouth, so to speak. He said, and that guy's been arrested today. So he led the general public, the clown people, to believe. What did that crap the Trump cult members always say? Panicans. The panicans. Oh my. The panicans to believe that this clown was arrested because of his little anti-Semitic, air quotes here. That ain't what's up. His post in this. And then he went on in the press conference to post this on a PowerPoint slide. Hold on. Hilarious, right? Cool. So, and the guy they arrested is from Wisconsin. So I'm not going to give you the whole 9 of his name and all this mess. But here's the deal. Most people thought this was over a meme, right? Because that's what the clown said. And I would suggest that it probably had a bleep of a lot to do with the meme. But the real deal, Holyfield, is the guy that was arrested, had a existing warrant out for stalking. So he actually had a warrant out for stalking. So he wasn't really arrested over the meme, although that's what old Bouchard led everybody to believe. So he led the general public to believe that this was because of this clown's meme. Was it really? Probably. So that's why he wanted to throw that out there as a chilling effect towards anyone who might actually criticize our greatest ally. So he meant that to be a chilling effect. Was this clown arrested because of this meme? Sure, it was, of course. But the quote unquote real reason was because this guy had an existing warrant for stalking. And I guess they just couldn't find him and didn't know who he was until he went forward and put that hilarious meme up of old Mike Bouchard there. You know, this one right here. Come on, put it back on the screen. There we go. So that was the real deal. Okay. So now you know. So that's why I say a little bit of debunking. Was that the real reason he got locked up? Of course. But the actual on paper reason was because of the stalking charge. So there you go. And of course, we want to go over the realness, right? Michigan synagogue attack response. 600 officers. Children rescued. So this was a few days old. So you probably saw this a buzz on social media where it looked like they had every piece of law enforcement in Michigan on this road. I mean, you would have thought it was the proverbial Sandy Hook. Oh my. No, it wasn't. It was a supposed synagogue attack, right? Active shooter emergency. Smoke could be seen pouring through the vents. Oh my goodness gracious. You would have thought it was 9/11 2.0. Okay. And I'm not suggesting this is good behavior. I'm not suggesting anyone should be attacked or any fire should be set or anything like that. Of course, this is reprehensible bull jive of only the lowest common denominator of bottom feeder trash. Okay. So I'm not suggesting or in any way advocating, provoking, stirring up, or anything else that you might try to put in your little attacks. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's bad news bears any way you look at it. So this was all in response. This was all after this on March 22nd. So everybody's fur was probably raised over this whole thing anyway. And then we got old Mike there. Mike getting his fur raised even further. You remember him, Mike Bouchard. His fur raised even further because this guy went out there and defaced his image. Oh, my goodness gracious sakes alive. The chilling effect, ladies and gentlemen. The chilling effect. So, but you should know this is coming, folks, because DJT has already said he's coming after you. If you speak bad about greatest allies, for gracious goodness sakes alive, he didn't get all that money from Marian Adelson for nothing, huh? He ain't got laughing boy Lutnick next to him 8 days a week and twice on Sunday for nothing, does he, huh? Come on. So he's already told you what's up. He's already told you he's coming after you. His press secretary already told you she's coming after you. We already got that cat arrested, and I guess he's in the slammer in Florida, the supposed conservative bastion of Florida, for allegedly speaking ill of our greatest ally. And they always frame it as a threat, folks. Oh, it was a threat. They threatened people, and that's firing a crowd of fear. You can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But it seems to be rules for thee and not for me. You know, in reverse there. Because they seemingly selectively go after these threats, don't they? You could roll down the hypothetical list And you'd see a whole lot of threats being made over the last 10, 15 years, and nothing happened to any of those people. I guess they didn't threaten, quote unquote, the right people, whatever the right people are. The chosen ones, the God's chosen people, John. Oh, my gracious goodness sakes, live. I'm going to roll through this. I'm going to put this on the screen because I found this downright interesting. This is from techpolicy.press. Bling. Trump's social media surveillance. Social scouring by another name. And this goes down right over down here in March 2025. Secretary of State Marco Rubio launched an AI-fueled catch and revoke effort to cancel the visas of foreign nationals who appear to support Hamas or other designated terror groups. So let me give you the rundown on this one. This is Marco Rubio's deal, and this is hand in hand with Palantir. Got it. This is hand in hand with Peter Thiel. Got it. This is hand in hand with J.D. Vance or whatever he's calling himself today. Got it. You should. So this is all a AI rollout system. This is everything that the supposed people on the right were griping and complaining about, rightfully so, during the Obama regime. And most notably during DJT's first regime. Because if you remember nothing about that, I do, because I was definitely shadow banned out the yin yang. I had my social media accounts taken down, censored, and everything in between. That's why I can't run a live show right now on Facebook, folks. That's why my blipping YouTube got taken down. And I'm starting over with like 10 followers. That being said, check out my YouTube channel and give it a whole like and subscribe if you can. It's anomicage.com. You know, you can find it there too, but you can just go to YouTube and put in Anomic Age. Or actually, I think it's what the flip is it right now? You can find it under Anomic Age, but I do believe it's the John Age Show or something like that. I guarantee you can find it. Nevertheless, on the homepage of anomicage.com. Check it out. Back to the point. So we saw all this bull jive before, folks. There was real shadow banning going on. There was real accounts taken down. We got that, right? But now, since it's under DJT Take 3 regime and Marco Rubio, that bastion of liberty, is heading this whole thing. And they're giving you the lip service that it's only for those domestic terrorists. It's only for the Muslims. It's only for those people that speak out against Israel, that are pro-Hamas, that are pro-Palestine. It's only for them, right? So everybody on the right, just cool your jets. It's not for thee yet. So this is the same problem that I've had from the jump, where you've got ICE all over the place, where you've got military on the street, and where you've got this sort of censorship on social media, because it's all now okay because it's on the right. It's all okay now. Social credit score, which we rolled out with the Dragonfly program in China. It's all coming here, folks. You can't say certain things, just like you can't say any sort of criticism of the greatest ally in Britannia over there. It's coming here, folks. It's coming here. It's already here. It ain't even coming here, for peeps' sakes. It's already here. Because they're doing it incrementally. It's death by 1,000 cuts, because everybody on the right has got their eye over there, not on the ball, and they're actually thinking it's for the terrorists, it's for the Muslims, it's for the illegal immigrants, and nay, it's for you. What else we got? Let's roll this one on the screen too. You got to see this one. This is from nightcolumbia.org. A bad idea. By adopting the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, universities are sacrificing academic freedom, as if you had it anyway. In the cult of academia, don't make me blipping laugh. What is the IHRA, John? You might be asking yourself, and you're immediately going to roll down here and say, aha, aquí. International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. That's what's up, folks. That's what it is. And let me see. I had this definition and then I didn't. Let me see. Yeah. Where in the devil is that definition? Darn it. I began describing the first major project. Yeah. I worked within the college group, many of them, to create a manual titled Bigotry on Campus, which I used to train over 200 college presidents over several years. One lesson from this project was that there shouldn't be a special rule for Jewish students. What? Or black students or anyone else. Well, this sounds downright bigoted. To deal with the anti-Semitism on campuses, the focus should be on what the campus must be. A place where bullying, threats, and intimidation are firmly opposed, but speech is protected. That ain't the way it is on college campuses, folks. Trust me. If the campus worked as it should, Jewish students would be fine. Oh, my. I'm trying to find the definition. Doggone it. Well, heavens to Betsy. Yep, we got that. The definition included examples relating to Israel. For example, denying the Jewish people their right to self-determination by claiming that the existence of the state of Israel is a racist endeavor, or applying double standards by requiring of it a behavior not expected or demanded by any other democratic nation as ways contemporary anti-Semitism could manifest. So this is a short bit of the definition. It's on the screen in case if you're not seeing this, or you could just go to knightcolumbia.org. But the crux of this, the bottom line is that, as it's stated on the screen there, this guy came up with these definitions. He went to 200 different university presidents with these meetings, 200 college presidents over several years. And this was adopted as the be-all, end-all of what anti-Semitism means, which basically means that they can excoriate, censor, and otherwise stop free speech on college campuses if it dares to speak ill in any way, shape, or form of our greatest ally. But let's not forget, we got some other lovelies on the screen here. Let me see if I can pull this lady's name up. Leora Renz. R-E-Z, excuse me. Leora Rez. I want to speak ill of Leora. My goodness gracious, I don't know if I can take it. Let's put Leora on the screen because we remember her from like 10 shows back. Stop anti-Semitism. This was Leora from about 3 months ago. Put up Leora so we can listen to this lovely.
From our founding, Stop Anti-Semitism has operated on one guiding belief. Anti-Semitism thrives when there are no consequences. So we created consequences.
Of course.
A lot of them.
Lots of them.
We created visibility. We turned the spotlight towards those who targeted on our community, making silence impossible. On campuses where Jewish students were hunted through libraries, where professors glorified Hamas and Hezbollah terrorists, where mobs shut down our buildings and administrators hid under desks. We stepped in. We documented the offenders. We worked with attorneys, lawmakers, and victim families. And we ensured the message was not mistakable. If you target Jewish students, your actions will not disappear into the darkness. We will shine a light on you that, thanks to Google and SEO, will follow you for the rest of your life. When you look for a job, when you look for a spouse, when you look for a nanny, when you look for anything, our work will always be documented. Again, thanks to Google and SEO. In corporations where DEI leaders smeared Israel, excused Hamas, we pressured CEOs.
All right, folks. I can't take any more of that one. So basically, it's like that old Jackson 5 joint. If you call my name, I'll be there. If you disparage our greatest ally, they'll be there. And they're going to track you with Google Analytics. They're going to use the Palantir. They're going to use the Peter Thiel work. And they're going to get you. They're going to get you if you speak bad in any way, shape, or form about our greatest ally. If you disparage them in the media, in the social media, in the bathroom, while you're in there by yourself on the toilet, anytime they're going to come get you. That's right. So don't be thinking you're going to get away. Oh, nay, 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 nay. That ain't happening, folks. So the bottom line is we have seen this before. I mean, you saw it like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, right now with social media censorship. Somehow people thought since Elon Musk took over the Twitter and calls it the X now that everything has changed. Please don't be that stupid, naive and myopic and moronic. That ain't the case, folks. Think this cat ain't getting some money from the homies? Come on, man. So, bottom line is, this kind of works into the topic of this show, the illusion, the fake reality, folks, because the general public really does live in this fake reality where they believe, it's Americana. It's mom and baseball and apple pie and gee whiz, Wally. That sort of just America that never was, that is somehow idealized from the 1950s, from the Norman Rockwell paintings. It never was, folks. There was pockets of it. Make no mistake about it. But I remember this. I'm a huge fan of the Andy Griffith Show, and I've seen a lot of the interviews with Ron Howard, with Don Knotts, with Andy Griffith, and talking about the show, its importance, and everything. And that was kind of one of the elements of the show. It was an idyllic place. It didn't exist. Was somewhere in the globe, in America, did that exist? At least to some degree, of course. Of course. Like the place I grew up, to a small degree, was like that. But the bottom line is, this idyllic version of Americana didn't exist, folks. Little elements of it existed, sure. But it ain't Father Knows Best. It ain't the Donna Reed Show. It's not any of those shows. It never was. It never will be. But somehow, pollen, my goodness, somehow people really do think that we have free speech. Like they really do believe that the military is fighting for our freedom. Sorry, folks. They really do believe in the G.I. Joe song, we'll fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. And they believe that's America. That's the American military. They somehow forgot. They forgot about fighting for the fruit companies. They forgot about fighting for, for Tropicana or the banana. I can't think of the darn banana lady's name. You know what I'm talking about. They forgot to read the book. They forgot to read War's a Racket by Smedley Butler, folks. They forgot it all. I apologize for the pollen. It's kicking my butt here. But you didn't need it, folks. That's my point. So the audience of this show knows what's up. They already know this whole racket, scam, con, hustle, and dodge. And I thank you for it. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And thank you for being above the fray, folks. You really are. So that's what's up, man. This is all a con, a scam, hustle, and a dodge. We've seen this play before. We don't have free speech. We never have. We never will. And we certainly won't have free speech as it pertains to our greatest allies. For heaven's sake, the last 20 plus odd years has taught us nothing. It's taught us how to be morons. It's taught us, oh, you can't say these special words. It might offend somebody. You can't say this word. We have reverted and resorted to using first letters of words. I mean, it's like the entire populace of this blipping country has turned into like a preschool or something, where we're spelling out words, we're abbreviating words, we're saying the first letter of words. Like, we can't even speak anymore, folks. But yet somehow there's people out there that believe the hype. They're under the guise that you can speak freely. It's just downright sad, pitiful, and ridiculous. Oh my goodness. Wait, there's more. There's so much more, actually. Let's get into this one. Put it on the screen. This is from thefederalist.com, which of course you can also follow this if you look at anomicage.com under news. This is definitely one of those RSS news feeds that will show up in your feed. Connecticut poised to create a surveillance state for homeschool families. For homeschool families, folks. This shouldn't surprise anyone either. You should look into this one because I think not a lot of people know about this. The Amish were one of the first targets by this satanic school system. You should read a little Charlotte Iserbyt, The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. You should look into John Gatto's work as far as the education system, because it's been a scam from the jump. It's an indoctrination system, folks. It's K through 12 indoctrination, college, university weaponization. It's been that way for over 100 years, and it's no more prevalent, relevant, or evident than it is right now in 2026, year of our Lord. Nothing's really changed. It's only gotten worse, folks. People like to think, they like to put this pretty little picture up there and cling to it and hold it and squeeze it. And yeah, and it's a joke, folks. They like to pretend that the school system is not a pile of turds. I've heard this hilarious argument from people before. Well, I pay for this with my tax dollars, and I'm not going to pay for my kids to go to school. No, of course you are paying. You're getting raped out of your tax money. So I guess in some sort of weird semblance of the term, you are paying for this crud. But does that mean that you should send your kids to these public indoctrination camps for 13 years? You ship them off to a college, university for another 5 because you think they can't get a job without it, John. They've got to be imbued with this higher learning. That's the deal, folks. What a scam. But to my point, it's only gotten worse. And a lot of people do not know that the Amish went through this. I think it was about 50, 60 years ago, where they were going into these Amish communities. If you know anything about the Amish, they don't want jack, turkey, diddly dog to do with our bleeped up society. And I can't imagine why. Because they don't have the high incidences, virtually non-existent, of autism, virtually non-existent of the made up by its own creator ADD and ADHD, horse feathers at litem, just complete nonsense. They don't have the vaccine deaths. They don't have this flu epidemics. They don't have these moronic, imbecilic things that are brought to you by the medical mafia, brought to you by proxy by the pharmaceutical industry, brought to you by proxy by the food industrial complex, folks. This is where this crud comes from. But back to the Amish, they were putting some of these Amish families, and I think it was primarily the fathers, putting them in jail because they were saying not so much to having their children stolen and enforced into these indoctrination camps like the rest of the Western school children. I mean, do we need to go back to the Native Americans, forcing them into these public indoctrination centers about 100 years ago? Do we need to go back there too? And this ain't going fly with a lot of people, but I would also suggest, hypothesize, and otherwise prove to you, if I had the time, that there was a reason for the integration. And it wasn't the holding hands in a little drum circle and singing Kumbaya. It was to further destroy both the black and the white cultures, really. And it was absolutely to indoctrinate everybody with that same level of indoctrination. Now we're all holding hands, Kumbaya, in a big drum circle. And now any and all of the black infrastructure economy is erased under the guise of holding hands and singing Kumbaya. And standards weren't brought up they were brought down. Just factual, folks. Just factual. But make no mistake about it. That's what's going down in Connecticut. Connecticut poised to create a surveillance state for homeschool families. What this is exactly what the other thing was. It's supposed to be a chilling effect. It's supposed to scare people, especially the half-baked normies that are liberal anyway and just don't want their kids in the public indoctrination centers. It's supposed to scare them because they want them to be under this umbrella of ignorance and weakness and think, well, I can't possibly educate my children at home. I can't do that. I'm not capable. So if you are not capable of educating your own children, what does that say about the education system that you went through? That's got to be about half-baked and bleeped, mongoloid, moron, and maybe full-on retarded. But that's what we have been taught, folks. That's what we have been taught, just like the medical mafia. We have been taught to bow down to the mortar board, just like we have been taught to bow down to the stethoscope. Because we can't possibly know anything about our own bodies, our own lives, or our own education. We're just going to farm that out to somebody else. That's really what this is about. So Connecticut's trying to scare people into abandoning the homeschool communities, which are off the charts flourishing, folks, especially after the COVID hoax. Because people went, oh, wow, this is a bunch of garbage. Hey, I actually like my kids around. Some of them anyway. Hey, I actually want to have control over what they get taught. And then they get back after the COVID hoax and realize that all that learning, quote unquote, they did during the COVID hoax, people lost like 2 years of education, folks. People were just, I've talked to people, and this has been in tons of news articles and academic articles too. The people actually lost about 2 years there. Between everybody wearing the little masks and doing things at home and doing this sort of like ad hoc, oh, we're going to throw everybody into Zoom and online and everything else. That's going to be great. No, it was a complete wash. But this is a scare tactic. Make no mistake about it. What else we got? We got some more. I would say a lot of this news, I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm not going to cover heavily, but it's just kind of like things that make you go, hey. We got Charlie Kirk's mentor, Jeff Webb, the father of modern cheerleading? What? Anyway, old Jeff Webb dies in a freak pickleball accident. What? Died at 76, Thursday, March 19th. So that's old Jeff Webb. And I can't help but think there must have been some Charlie Kirk connections that they didn't want you to make. Because I don't think anybody's dying of a freak pickleball accident. I'm just not buying it, folks. Just like I'm not buying Trump getting shot in the ear. Just like I'm not buying the lone gunman of them destroying the crime scene, the dude disappearing. We ain't heard as much of a mouse fart about this cat in about 2 years. The same way I don't buy the Charlie Kirk quote unquote event. It looks as shady. I'm just going to say it looks shady. Okay. And anybody dying in a pickleball accident, I ain't buying it, folks. I am not buying it. I think this is nothing more than what you expect it to be and what you as a listener of this show know that it is. It's a humiliation ritual. That's exactly what this is. It's yet another humiliation ritual. I mean, we see this all the time. And here's the funny of this whole thing is that the general public passes this stuff off as like, I can't believe how stupid they are. I can't believe how stupid, and it comes from the right and the left. So the left saying, I can't believe how stupid Trump is. They're doing, X, Y, and Z. It's not stupidity. And the idiots on the right are going, I can't believe how stupid the left are. They're letting trannies in school and blah, 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 story hour and everything else. I can't believe that they think this is going to, bring harmony and peace. It was never meant to bring harmony and peace, you imbecile. Just like everything Trump's doing was never meant to bring anything but more war. I was about this close to doing the show and entitling it War for War's Sake. A spinoff on the art for art's sake quote that most people have heard. This is war for war's sake, except it's not. It's war for Israel. It's war as another dramatic, gigantic, over-the-top blood sacrifice. Just like World War I, just like World War II, just like the Korean War, just like Vietnam, just like we've been diddling around in the Middle East for over 35 blipping years. Just like 9/11, just like the Oklahoma City bombing, just like the Greeks, and just like the Romans in the Colosseum. It's a gigantic blood sacrifice, just like the Aztecs sacrificing thousands of people a day. It's a blood sacrifice, folks. It's a different time. It's a different era. It's a different culture, but it's the same blipping thing. It's a blood sacrifice. I can't make it any clearer. That's what this blipping mess is, folks. What else we got? Let's throw this on the screen. OnlyFans owner Leonid Radvinsky dies at 43 años. Después, secreto cancer. He had a secret cancer battle, apparently. So old Radvinsky dies at 43, OnlyFans owner. Secret cancer battle. You buying that, folks? You buying this bull? Come on. Come on. Anybody that knows anything already knows this guy's part of our greatest allies. The OnlyFans thing has taken over, virtually taken over the pornography industry here. This has brought all this to everyone's doorstep. It's normalized, standardized, subsidized this sort of garbage to the general public. That's what's up. So the pornography world went from sort of a taboo thing, 30, 40 years ago, to now commonplace. I mean, what was it? I think it was like Britney Spears or somebody. I saw this on social media. She's got an OF account, and all these other random celebrities just throwing their dirty laundry. Oh man, all over the interweb, I guess. Remember that old song, the Dirty Laundry song? What's that guy's name? The cat from the Eagles. Kick them when they're up, kick them when they're down, kick them when they're up, kick them all around. Yeah, they're just throwing it out there now, folks. And I'm going to follow you up on this one in just a minute, but just give me a second. Give me some space to breathe. This is old. I'm not going to cover this one. I was going to cover it, but it's all right. I'm not going to cover this one. I'll cover this one, though. I'll put this one on the screen, if you know what I mean. This one is on the screen. This one, I could play some of this. I don't know if it's worth even playing. Everybody's seen this on all over their social media. And let's just throw a little bit on it. What the hell? We'll throw a little bit on it.
FAU.
Sacred Heart University.
Ohio State.
Spring break 2026. What is the game plan?
Drinking, blackout with my rack out.
If my mom is watching, I'm sorry, Mom, but I've been getting pretty drunk almost every day.
Hook up with some girls, get with as many girls as we can, and not come back with the STD.
Wake out with one person each night, that's it.
So how many guys have you made out with this week?
I've been here for about 10 days, so 10.
What were their names?
I don't remember.
All right, there's no point in really rolling through this whole thing here, folks. So this is actually covering what I've covered on this show so many times before. Immodesty, normalized. Hooking up with strangers, normalized. Doing hard drugs, normalized. Getting drunk and being a big fat piece of trash, normalized. That's kind of what I was getting at with the OnlyFans comments there. That dude's dead. Greatest ally. Yeah, I'm sure another ally member will step up and it'll just keep on running, folks. But the real deal, Holyfield, that I've discussed on this show ad nauseum is the degradation of the culture. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier in the show, but yeah, I feel you. The idyllic Americana Norman Rockwell painting that was Americana never really existed in the form that it was portrayed. Okay, I feel that. Everybody knows that. But I'd say since 2000, you could even roll it back to 90 if you want to. Since 90, it's like 1990. It's been a real push to move that Overton window. It's been a real push to do exactly what that little post there said. Normalizing being a drunk piece of trash. Normalizing being a druggy piece of trash. And it's like weed is commonplace now, which is pathetic and revolting to me in the first place. But it's not just that. It's as it says on the thing, it's normalizing hard drugs. Everybody's doing a little blow off somebody's. Everybody's doing X, Y, and Z. Everybody's microdosing. Everybody's regular dosing. Everybody's just normalizing being an immodest piece of dog excrement. And I know people ain't going to like my comments on this, and hey, I don't care. But that's the realness, folks. The American culture has been decimated, destroyed, and laid to waste. And it's been in no small part to K through 12 indoctrination, college, university weaponization. I don't know, people are going to call me to get off my lawn, guys. So I say get off my whatever. But yo, when I was in SKU, people were drunks. And then people were druggies to a degree. But now you throw in all that times infinity, and you're also throwing this ridiculous hookup culture in there where everybody's just doing to and fro and everywhere they want to go with anything and anybody. Animals too, I guess. We should do a whole nother show on this because everybody knows NAMBLA, the Boy Love Association, how that's trying to normalize pedophilia. He's been doing it for 30 years, folks. It ain't nothing new. But I'm going to throw this iron in the fire that wasn't mentioned in the video. Because what we're seeing quite a bit of these days is a whole lot of people, and I've seen a whole lot more of this females than males, and I think there's a reason why this is showing up. A whole lot of people doing the pedophilia now within the schools that are the teachers, that are the principals, that are the coaches, and everything in between, grooming and copulating with children. So we're seeing a whole lot more of that, and we're seeing a lot more of it in social media. And here's the other caveat. They already kind of mentioned this in passing, but we're seeing a whole lot more females than males. I would suggest, surmise, and otherwise show you evidentially all over social media. And they're showing this more and more. They're showing like these younger female teachers. Oh, they had their way with, and they oftentimes don't say what's going down. This is rape, folks. This is pedophilia. But they'll say, oh, well, this female teacher, she was 20 something and she was raping this 16-year-old kid. And then immediately in the comments, you'll see all these people saying, oh my goodness, oh boy, blah, 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 blah. And that would not be said if it was the reverse sex. Just saying, it's true. So I believe we're seeing the social media and we're seeing the mainstream media really flooding the market with these primarily female teachers now getting busted for being rapists and pedophiles. And it's a way to normalize it because the male psyche is going to say, oh, well, you know, I wish teachers looked like that when I was in school, you know, and I'm PG-13 it from the comments because you can look at the comments and see a whole lot worse than that. But the bottom line is that's what it is. So I hate to break it to you. That's what it is, folks. It's rape. It's pedophilia. It's grooming. That's what's up. So we're going to see a whole lot more of that, and it's going to be used to normalize this, just like NAMBLA was trying to normalize this 30 years ago. But this is going to be the wedge that's really going to push a lot of the communist trash on the left to say, well, the same way they normalized the weed, the same way they normalized the booze, the same way they normalized the microdosing, the same way they normalized being a slutty piece of trash in college. All this is the same. It's to degenerate the society, to destroy the culture from within, folks. People think Cloward and Piven, and they think, oh, well, they think of the long march through academia. The Foucault, the theorist, another gay fruit bat, Foucault was really the guy that was throwing out this notion of a panopticon. But one of his shticks was the work of Antonio Gramsci, an Italian communist The big publication was his prison notebooks, which he wrote while he was in prison. And he talked about infiltrating the system. This is where Cloward and Piven came from. This is where all that garbage out of the 60s came from. The rules for radicals, all that garbage was kind of predicated on Antonio Gramsci's prison notebooks. I mean, of course, going back to Hegelian dialectic, going back to Machiavelli and the Prince, going back to all this stuff. But it really transcends just infiltrating the hallowed halls of academia with communist fruit bats and having trannies read to your kids. The real transcendence of it is to normalize the abnormal, to normalize the deviance on such a large scale, and doing it K through 12 indoctrination, college, university weaponization. So by doing it through that, then you can move the Overton window, and you'll also thrust in all the media, all the social media, the movies, the television shows, all the streaming dramas, all this BS now. There's always a gay character. Everybody's hooking up. Everybody's doing weed. Everybody's smoking and drinking and being a big fat piece of trash. All this is to normalize and relegate the once great culture, the shining city on a hill, to a debaucherous Sodom and Gomorrah bleep hole, which is what it is now. And then you can also infuse in the Cloward and Piven strategies where you debase the culture, but you also bankrupt the culture through illegal immigration, through funding abortion, through funding drug programs, through funding rehab programs. You got to care about, I can't believe you don't care about these druggy scumbags, John. You're supposed to give them needles and you're supposed to put them in programs. Yeah, right. So what you saw on the screen there was just really a microcosm of the larger plan. I didn't mean to go all heavy into it, but I mean, it's worth going heavy into, for heaven's sakes. Speaking of some other stuff you got to go heavy into, let's roll into this bull jive, folks. I touched on this about 3 weeks ago, but here we go again. U.S. defense bill calls for automatic draft registration. This was in January, actually. But if you don't know now, you know. Automatic draft registration. But wait, there's more, because somebody's going, that's not a bad idea, John. Everybody should be in the military and die for their country. Here's the real deal. This is from the Army, from the U.S. Army. And this is going to be rolled into place. Oh, my goodness. What was it, like April, I believe? This is this expedited revision dated March 20th, blah, blah, blah. I do believe it's rolling out in April. But anyway, bottom line here, I'll give you the cliff notes on this. They went from 34 to 42 as far as the age of joining the military. Yeah. So they've increased the age. And it also eliminates the requirement of a waiver for a single conviction of possession of marijuana, the devil's lettuce, or a single conviction of possession of drug paraphernalia. So now you could have a single conviction for marijuana or paraphernalia, and you don't even get a waiver anymore. They'll usher you right on in. Come on in, you weed-headed piece of garbage. Come on into the military. Yeah, if you don't have a problem with the drugs now, you're really going to have one when you leave. And they've changed it from 34 to 42. It's recalculous, folks. But this is it. This is what's up. And I don't know about your feed, but I've been seeing this in my feed all over the place. Basically, all these different commercials, ads, and pandering to people that might be a little older. It's not too late to join the military at an older age. It shows all these cats with a little bit of gray in the hair. They've joined the military too, John. You too can die for Israel. I mean, you too can fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. State Department propaganda rollout of the G.I. Joe cartoon in 1982 or whatever the blip it was. So now they've extended it. So now they've forced the registration for the draft. Oh, yeah. And now they are making it easier to get in. to the military. Be a little bit older, that's fine. You're a weedhead, okay, no problem. I mean, they've already, over the last 5-10 years, you've seen this all over the place. They've lowered the physical standards. You can take timeouts and such and exercise. I mean, the whole thing is just a blipping complete joke. You got obese people in there. And now I guess you're going to have, never mind. Oh my. You got obese people in there. You got illegals in there just trying to get a card. You got druggies in there. I mean, they've lowered the whole thing, folks. Even just the basic placement tests to get in. They've lowered all that stuff, folks. They've lowered it all. And do you think they're doing this because they love you? Do you think they're looking for just a few good men? Please. I've seen a lot of military cats on social media just trying to tell people what's up, trying to be like, hey, you know, you think your life kind of is starting to flag and you're thinking about re-upping, re-enlisting. You might want to think about that. That probably is a really dumb idea. And I even saw this. I even saw David Goggins. I respect his content. I don't know the guy personally, but I respect his content. He's re-upped. He's in the Air Force, I guess, now. He's got I guess he rejoined the military. He's in the Air Force. So David Goggins back in the Air Force again. So that's what's up, folks. That's really what's going on. Let me see. I'm going to cover some of this other stuff, man. So we run out of time, and I'm not going to let us run out of time. I took my own time getting in here tonight, so I'm going to be here for a little longer. So this is the stuff that we know. So the USS Ford, this is the ship that allegedly had a lint fire. Again, this is a humiliation ritual times 1,000. You believe that this multi-billion-dollar aircraft carrier, allegedly the best of the best of what we got, turned around and went back home because of a lint fire. A lint fire. They said this was due to lint, folks. It was a fire in the laundry area. And they want you to believe that. That's the comedy of all comedies, folks. They expect you, the general public of Americana de los Estados Unidos, to believe this kind of low-level bull jive that the average kindergartner would raise a brow to. What else happened? The USS Abraham Lincoln got shot all to bleep up with some of those Tomahawk missiles, I guess. I don't know. Got all kinds of blown up. It's headed back to port. Both of these ships, they're saying it's going to take months to fix this mess, if not years. These dadgum ships are the top of the top, supposedly. Best of the best. We're the most powerful one nation under God. You know, all this bull jive that they expect everybody to get goosebumps and just kiss the ring of and buy into all this bull jive. This is what we're left with. But wait, there's more. USS Boxer. I have hardly seen this in the news. The USS Boxer, entire system shut down by Iran technology. Their technological warfare of Iran shut the entire blipping carrier down. USS Boxer headed back home. I don't know how many carriers we got out there, but I know darn well we got 3 headed back into port because they got just punked on some nothing, folks. On some nothing. So this plays into what I was talking about before, folks. The reality versus the fake life. The fake life versus the reality. Because after all, we have been taught through the K through 12 indoctrination, through all the social media, through all those propaganda movies, Black Hawk Down, and all this other bull jive. In case you don't know, all the major film studios have a government office on site. They don't even get permission to make these movies and have the proper propaganda put in them if they don't first go before the government. So this is the bull jive we've been taught. We've been taught we're number one, freedom fries, we're the biggest cock in the yard, so to speak. And it just don't seem to be, does it, folks? Just don't seem to be. I don't take pride in saying this. I'm disgusted in saying this. Because I put this up on the last show. I don't know how many, what was it, like $8 billion we've already peed away in not even 2 months of this garbage? Would it be billion? The roads, the infrastructure's crumbling. You got drunk, druggy trash everywhere in a major metropolitan area. Countless people out of work. But we're too stupid. So we're going to have some more of those H-1B visas so we can get some more of those Indians over here, some of those Pakistanis over here, because we just can't pull it off. And this really causes me to question this also. I often question this, but even more so with these 3 big ships turning back home, going home. Because anybody who knows what's up in the alternative news and media, anybody like myself who's been hip to all this paranormal and the UFOs and all this bulljive for some 30-odd years now, you know, I've been told this so many times on these different shows, programs, and institutions. I've heard that the technology that we possess, you know, the stuff you can go buy at the big box stores, that's at least 30 years old. That we've got stuff 30, if not 50 years more advanced than all that. I mean, that's where GPS came from during Bill Clinton's regimes. Remember Bill Clinton? Bill Clinton was the one that gave us a GPS, man, because the patents were coming up. And they were just kind of like, let the slaves have a little bit. Here, have some on the house, you bunch of slave morons. Here, have some. So I, and probably you too, have heard this kind of shuck and jive yarn where it's like, oh yeah, it's at least 30 to 50 years more advanced than what you know. Really? It sure don't look like it. It sure don't look like it, folks. So you got to ask yourself, is this death for death's sake? Is it just to kill people? Is that what this is about? Or do we really have like these secret UFO? Yeah, and I'm not talking about the B-2 bomber or whatever. I'm talking about like the legit stuff, the Area 51 stuff, the blanking on some of these other site names, Groom Lake stuff. I mean, do we really have this sort of technology, wink, wink, and we're just not using it because we haven't had it handed to us enough yet? Is that what's up? Or is it just what I said? Is it just death for death's sake? Is it just to kill a bunch of people? Just wondering here, just thinking out loud and trying to figure this whole thing out. Because it all seems like a bunch of fake garbage to me. It seems fake, just like the, I've got shot in the ear fake. Oh, look, my cartilage is healed in a couple days. Meanwhile, cult members are wearing bandages on their ears. What? Hey, and why are our oil prices going up? Because we allegedly just went over there in Venezuela and took out their sitting president, somehow brought him back to America, and we're trying him here? But that was for freedom, not oil, allegedly. So what happened to all that oil that we were supposed to get from Venezuela? Is that just a yarn? What about all these oil reserves that we allegedly have, you know, more oil in America than they do in the Middle East? Okay, well, great. Let's see it. So why the bleep is oil over $200 a barrel right now? It all just seems like smoke and mirrors, folks. It all just seems a little bit too fake. Here, let's put the image on the screen. It all seems to be just like this. Reality is fake. Please enjoy your fake life. Because it all seems fake. Folks, it all just seems like a bunch of horse manure. It's as if we're all living in the Truman Show, doesn't it? Doesn't it seem like the Truman Show to you? Sure as bleep does to me. I mean, I'm at the point, and I hope you're at this point too, because I sort of pride myself on not being one of those device addicts that just wander around with their head down, looking at this, you know, like a complete moron all the time. But the nature of the beast, the nature of doing a show like this, I do get on social media. I do look at the news and what's going on from time to time. Do I take really big gaps and breaks from it for weeks at a time? Absolutely. Don't be mistaken for us. You can't take with so much of this horse manure. But I don't know about you, but I've had it with all of it. You know, I'm on the Instagram sometimes and I look at all these different, what are these morons called now? Influencers. That's it, John. They're not podcasters anymore. They're influencers. I'm old enough to remember about 20 years ago when old Alex Jones, everybody was criticizing Alex Jones because for good reason. But they were criticizing him because he was a podcaster. And that was supposed to be like a detriment. So it's supposed to be like a disparaging remark. He's a podcaster. He's not a real radio guy. He's a podcaster, which was not true, but I digress. And now, I would credit most of this to Joe Rogan as far as normalizing it, which again, you have to wonder back to that morals and dogma quote, when a hero is needed, one will be provided. Oh, really? I think they're providing quite a bit of heroes, and that those heroes are definitely getting paid for their services. But I digress. So that used to be a disparaging word, a disparaging remark. And now, flip the script, in the last 10 years, especially, the podcasting has become the big thing, the next big thing. Everybody's podcasting. Everybody from the plumber to the janitor to the mayor to some bozo you went to school with that picked boogers and ate them. Like there's a podcast for everything now. But it's not just that anymore, because now they're not just podcasting, they're influencers. They're influencing. You feel what I'm saying here? Do you pick up what I'm putting down? It's propaganda, folks. My gracious goodness sakes alive. It's propaganda. And there's a propaganda for everybody. So if you like collecting stamps, there's a propagandist for you. If you're into black nationalism, there's a propagandist for you. If you're into Israel up your rear, then there's a propaganda station for you. If you're into Israel's the Nebo, whatever the flip, kneel before Zog, there's a propaganda station for you. So it's all covered, folks. But it's all covered, and nobody's really bringing anything all that enlightening. For my money, it's a lot of people yelling, which is pretty hysterical. So if you go on social media, it's like a bunch of people trying to show their naughty bits and a bunch of people yelling and trying to like out yell the next guy with whatever they feel is the most profitable thing that they can spew out in 5 seconds or less, so they can clickbait you into making some money. It's all just quite fake to me, folks. All just fake. And the sad thing is now we're in an age very much like Westworld, the real Westworld, not that remake BS. But it's all fake, folks. So I believe whatever generation is in now, it'll be the first generation where they have no litmus test and no basis for reality. That should really give everybody pause and cause to concern themselves with what the bleep is really going on here, folks. Because it's all going to be AI. If you remember like 20, 30 years ago, if somebody had a great image of a UFO, a great image of Bigfoot, a great image of a ghost or what have you, the proof was in the pudding. The proof was in like, oh, I have this tangible video or pictorial evidence of X, Y, and Z. If you want to roll all the way back to the heavily redacted, edited, and otherwise changed Zapruder film, complete hogwash, but I digress. For its day, 10 years after the assassination, came out in 1974, and it was pushed out there by old Jerry Rivers, also known to you normies as Geraldo Rivera. Way before he was over there basking in the glory of an empty safe or getting hit in the freaking nose with a chair, he was premiering for the plebs the redacted, edited, and completely changed Zapruder film. But even then, it was like, oh, we've got tangible evidence of this. Now, first generation, that's not going to mean butt kiss. Zero, nothing. Because you could make a video right now of yourself dancing with a polar bear on the eye of a needle on the moon, folks. And if you have enough power and enough cooling or whatever else, you can pull it off pretty quickly. But the sad truth of this whole thing is there's going to be no litmus test for anything anymore. Because what's it going to be, folks? How, a couple weeks ago, it was, Netanyahu's dead, you see, because he's got an extra finger on his hand. And that's just prima facie proof that it's AI and blah, 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 blah. I guess. Maybe. Maybe not. The problem is that there's no litmus test anymore. There's no Proof in the pudding. There's no video nor pictorial evidence that's going to conclude anything. And if you've learned nothing, you should have learned that from the I got shot in the ear episode, as well as the Charlie Kirk episode. None of that brought you any clarity. It only brought you more questions. You want to roll back to Sandy Hook where we had a bunch of kids wandering around marching in a circle for 5 flipping hours? It was real, John. It was real, I tell you. Sure. So nobody's going to know anymore, folks. That's the problem. You got people all over the intro web parroting out a fake life that's not real. They got the 9-to-5 life and they got the internet life. You got chicks that ain't even chicks. That life. I'm talking about stapling stuff on and putting things on. You know what I'm saying? I have no forearm anymore, but look at my non-working pee-pee. But wait, there's more, because there's also completely AI-generated nonsense. Now, you've got AI pop stars and AI porn stars and AI everything else stars. They're going to do away with your quote-unquote movie stars, and it'll all be replaced, folks. You want to see Jimmy Stewart again? Don't worry. He'll be here pretty soon in a completely new reboot or the sequel to It's a Wonderful Life. It's My Wonderful AI Hellscape Life with Jimmy Stewart. So, and not even to mention the people with all the crazy makeup, man. You could put me in a dress and with enough makeup and whatever, I could look like $1 million, folks. It's crazy. You've probably seen these same things. These like ghastly goblin creatures. I'm putting on makeup for 5 minutes and comes out looking like the hottest thing you've ever seen. Gross, folks. Scary. Not to mention all the people getting stuff injected with the fake butts and the fake boobs and the fake calves and the fake face. Good night, nurse, folks. You ain't going to know what you're coming into, man. It's going to be, whew. I'm trying not to speak bad of people, but you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. One of the greatest allies is all over the social media. Scary, baby. Scary. Good grief. So it's all fake, folks. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when the fake comes for you? And that's the deal, man. We've all got a price. To quote the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, everybody's got a price. And you see so much of this in the job world, folks. If you are in virtually any field, you won't look around online, you can get a job doing some AI training, which is fancy speak for doing away with whatever you actually do as a tangible human. You can train AI to do it too. And you see so much of this predictive programming. I was watching the first couple episodes of Silver Spoons from 1982 recently. And I had a machine that, well, it was a remote. It was basically like an Alexa. Guy pushes a button and the front door opens, the front door closes, pushes another button. The drapes draw closed or open. So much predictive programming, folks. So that's why I was mentioning that earlier. You know, this technology that we think is new and innovative, it ain't that new. And somebody's going, John, it's a fictional show. It didn't really have it back then and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right. You didn't have it back then. Somebody had it back then. I guarantee you, it was on the cutting edge of some DARPA tech in 1982 at least. Probably about 20 years before that. So what is reality, folks? Going back to that old David Icke thing, the holographic universe. Somebody's going, David Icke didn't come up with that. It was someone else. Okay, well, David Icke definitely has covered it. Whether he was the first person in the prison yard to talk about it, I don't really care. But David Icke's definitely touched on, talked about, and otherwise covered the holographic universe quite aptly. Basically saying, is it all a dream? To quote old Biggie, is it all a dream? It might very well be. I can't help but get kind of spooked myself when I get into some of this stuff because it's so deep into the pool. I remember being in kindergarten and I was sitting there one day thinking, I was like, what if this is all a dream? Like, what if every bit of my life up until now and including the present is a dream? What if I wake up and I'm like a like a little infant or something. Wake up in the crib. I'm like, might be, folks. It might very well be. Because everything that we're experiencing right now, you've got to feel this. You've got to feel this disturbance in the force. It feels like the most non-real thing in the world. Everything. Doesn't matter what it is. Sports, fake bull job. We already know that. The Oscars. I didn't even cover the Oscars from like a week and some change ago to Oscars. It was all over social media for a couple hours. I guess they were trying to make the completely irrelevant relevant because they had all these different boobs and stars and quote unquote stars and celebrities. Oh my, blah, blah, blah. You know, and I was just thinking to myself, who the flip is watching the blame Oscars? Why would anybody in their right mind care about this garbage? I'm serious. I don't know anybody that cares about this mess. Yeah, I don't even think the boomers, you know, everybody's target of vitriol. I don't think they care about this. Just bull job. You know? It's kind of like when MTV went off the air and stopped doing videos and all this stuff and stopped doing the MTV Awards. And I was just thinking, I think the MTV Awards might have been the last thing I was thinking. Is that even still on? I was thinking, man, I haven't watched the dang MTV Awards since like 1995. I didn't even know that was even a thing. Most people didn't know they were still playing videos or music. I know I didn't. But it's all just a masquerade, a charade, kind of hustle, a dodge, and a guise. A guise of relevance, a guise of importance. But in the end, how much of this is even real, man? How much of this is even real? Whoever your favorite influencer is right there, is it real? Are those people real people? You don't know. The people that follow you and you follow in whatever social media capacity you do, are they real? Do you know? You don't know. I mean, the rage was, oh, everybody's being catfished. You know, it was like 15 years ago, that stupid show, Catfished. How much of this reality are you all being catfished into? How much of this reality is really a Truman Show? I mean, we know that so many of these events, quote unquote, have been nothing more than just events. So many of these false flags have been just that, false flags. You know, everybody said, oh, Cuba's dark now. Cuba's got no lights. And then I heard this, the violins. You know, oh, the poor children. The children have no lights and electricity. What will we do? You know, before anybody could blink, Russia's over there. Russia's bringing them diesel fuel with two big tankers, and they're being accompanied by destroyers, just in case Los Estados Unidos thought they were going to get uppity and step over the little waterway there from the Florida Keys and Calle Ocho into Cuba. Russia said, nay, nay, Americanos. We don't blipping think so, man. Russia said, we're going to put some more missiles down here. It's going to be like Bay of Pigs all over again, man. That's not Russian, and that's not even how the Cubans speak. So, What do you think out of it, folks? What do you think in the comments? Is it all a dream? Is it real, or is reality fake? My money's on reality just as fake as the food. As fake as the water. As fake as the air. It's all just fake, folks. I mean, looking back on the reality that I grew up in, it ain't nothing like this bull job. And shout out to Big Reed for always saying life is participatory. It's all about participation or lack thereof. And that's so true with this whole thing too. But how much of life can you just no longer participate in, you know? I mean, I do my best, man. Every time I go out and about, I get disgusted, mad. It's just like a MASH unit out there. It's like all the extras from every zombie movie you've ever watched are now the populace of the United States, folks. It's just sad, folks. Sad, sad, sad. And the worst news is all these cats that think they got it made, they don't. Their job's about to disappear. All these people, I hate my job in the service industry. Well, I would too. Don't worry. It's about to disappear. You're about to be at the crib, taking the shots, wearing your masks, getting your dole check unless you said something bad about our greatest ally, or unless you didn't take the vaccine, or unless you ain't eating the government cheese, aka the GMO death food, or unless you're not going to the doctor every few days so you can get some help. You need some help? The medical mafia is here to help you. Have some more fluoride. We got extra strength fluoride. Sad, folks. It's sad. I don't think anything's real anymore. I really don't. I think it's all a scam, a con, a hustle, and a dodge. I think the great David Icke is right. I think it's all a bunch of ones and zeros just going down the screen. I'm starting to think that more and more. Is sad, but it's true. All right. I'll leave it right there this evening. Unfortunately, folks, I hate to break it to you. I think it's a scam. Both parties are completely a scam. And if you think you're voting your way out of this, you're probably in for a rude awakening. And if you think anyone in America has the temerity to fight their way out of this, you're even more mistaken. Maybe that's what's up. Maybe they're saving all that good tech and they're just doing the death for death's sake across the pond and in every third world bleep hole. But then if anyone actually steps out of pocket here in the homeland, that's when they'll really unfurl the real tech. And I hate to break it to you, Russia ain't going to be sending you no tankers of diesel fuel. You're just going to be in for a long night. A long night, folks. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be every gang and every Muslim and every just complete lunatic they let out of the asylums going completely bonkers all at once. And don't worry, I know somebody out there, they've done all the research and they found the perfect spot in the perfect area, in the perfect latitude and all that mess. You know, they've done all their proper research from strategic relocation. They've done all that. I think you're just, you bought yourself maybe a couple days, a couple weeks. If you're super lucky, maybe a couple months, but you know, all the quote unquote real muckers, they've all got their underground bunkers and they're going to be there watching the Rome burn while the slave class is, getting slaved classed in the, you know what I'm saying? All right, folks, enough of this. I know I've gone 22 minutes over and you are dying right now. So join me on what's Thursday, 11:30 to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be another riveting hour in the Anomic Age. You can't do everything, but you can do something. Get out there, do your part, make a difference, and I'll be seeing you sooner than later in the Anomic Age.
Thank you for listening to The Anomic Age, a John Age project. For past shows, further info, and to comment, go to anomicage.com. That's ANOMICAGE.com. Till next time, thank you for listening to The Anomic Age.